And we are live. What's good, people? It's your man DL Saint. Welcome. I hope y'all are doing good. I hope y'all are doing well. I'm just checking sound and all that stuff, y'all. You know what it is. Happy Thursday, y'all. We made it. Thursday is almost the end of the week. Almost the end of the week. So I see we got Leia Navoa and Dr. B already in the house, man. Thank y'all so much for being here. You know what I'm saying? Not just on time, but early. How y'all feeling? I am so glad y'all can make it. We're gonna have a good talk today. It seems that and I messed up on my scheduling. I thought that I had this scheduled for last night at 6, and I didn't. I had it scheduled for today, so I bumped it up to 1. We got another episode later on today at 7:00. Jir Esquire is gonna be with me. You know, that's my dog, man. That's my travel partner in crime, and he turned me on to the story of the beautiful young woman in Bogota who lost her life to this evil American, and we're gonna do a follow up to that. There's more to that story that Perry was telling me. So we're gonna be on tonight, 7:00 Eastern Standard Time, right here. Definitely want to tune in for that. You know what I mean? When Passport boys go wild, that's pretty much where this is. We got Brother Jason in the house. What's good? Good. Man, I'm like almost late. I was sitting down. There's a documentary out about and I forget the name of the show, but they talk about sports stuff. And they were talking about that referee who was cheating in the NFL, betting on his own games. Or just finishing up watching that documentary. It's almost over, and I'm like, oh man, I got a show to do. So run up here, and how y'all? I mean, I hope all is well. Sister Candace in the house. What's good, love? Always a pleasure to see you. How you doing? Thanks for coming through. Like I said, Dr. B, Brother Jason. So glad to see y'all, Leia Navoa. So glad to see y'all, man. We're going to definitely talk about the numbers on and stuff like that, man. Man, in the red pill space, everybody talks about body count. I don't know what's up with you youngins, but like for people in my generation, body count's not something that, I never asked a woman, how many dudes you been with? Never. In my life, never. You know what I mean? And now it's to the point where women volunteer that information as if I believe you. It doesn't matter. Just don't act like you got a high body count. I don't care if you've only ever been with one dude or you've been with me. It's about how you act. So we're going to talk about that. And it's funny because even Mel King was speaking on this subject last night on her show. Shout out to Melanie King. So we're definitely going to talk about this. I got a couple articles that I wanted to cover, and just to see the numbers, like the numbers are weird. Numbers that can be used in many different ways. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all feel me on that. Let's see. We got Dr. B. One thing I've noticed is that when women with higher body counts tend to not be as affectionate in bed, the ones with lower body counts, lovely girls who are ran through. That's a good point. I can't say that I've noticed that, bro. And the reason I haven't noticed it is because back in the day when I was doing my thing, I didn't care. You know what I mean? Most of the women that I've been with the majority of them were affectionate. There were women out there who were just like, wham, bam, thank you, sir. High fives, pat you on the butt on your way out the room, good game type women who were just getting theirs. Absolutely. And now that you mention it, well, maybe they don't care. But the majority of women, and just making up numbers, I would say 75 to 80% of women that I've been with, they wanted pillow talk. I would say most women want pillow talk, even the ones with the high body counts. They wanted, they enjoyed the pillow talk. Now, I've been across a couple like real bad ones. You know what I'm saying? Just like out there, bad, just bad code. Their pillow talk is just out there. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, this chick right here, she got a lot of body. She got issues, but Jordan, cool. But I think you're onto something, bro. I ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? I ain't pushing back. I feel you. I feel you. I can see that. What you're saying, I can absolutely see that. Sister Candace, video and audio a bit choppy, brother DL. Is it? I'm not sure what that is. I want you to come back and what to do about it. And I can see that my it says my connection is unstable. Oh, and it says that I should plug into my router and move closer to it. If it gets worse. Yeah, let me know. Oh, I see it too. I'm watching the feed. Yeah, you're right. It is bad. All right. I don't know. It's for a couple of days, y'all. My last couple of streams have been bad. I'm looking at my I don't know what it is. I probably have to reboot my my router and all that stuff, but I can't do that now. Looks like we're in it. You guys smiling on me today, and we'll be able to get through this. Not only is it happened to me, but it happened to Mel King on her last live. It could be a Florida thing, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I haven't watched any Fresh and Fit, but they Viking Paradigm came in and put them on with a real good system. So I don't think I'm looking at signal, and it's kind of going up and down. You know what I mean? Dr. B, not an absolute rule, but something I've seen while doing my thing out here. Allegedly, I hear you, Dr. B. Yeah, dude, bro, I'm with you on that. Lovey and the lovey-dovey stuff. I remember I was with a woman, I'm sure, was out there doing her thing, and she didn't like holding hands, zero, none of that. And I just chalked it up to public displays of affection. Maybe she just wasn't into that. Now that I think about it, Dr. B might be onto something. So yeah, I appreciate that. And Sister Candace and everybody in the chat, just keep just keep our eye on the video quality. Like I'm looking at it. There's definitely some tech issues on this end, but it seems to be moving forward now. I just say K8 in the house. What's good, sis? How you feeling? Good to see you. Good to see you. And since we got this little thing with the tech issue, let's just get right into the meat and potatoes, because I was going to talk about the State of the Union address. I don't know if anybody watched that last night. I didn't watch it last night. I watched it this morning. And the State of the Union is this. Looks like Sleepy Joe woke up. So I don't know what they gave that man. Maybe they gave him some of those experimental elderly drugs that he was talking about in the speech. But whatever they gave him, boy, you might want to get some of that. He was there. Like, that dude was there. I still think he's too old to be president of the United States. So I'm not going to lie. But that dude was there. Like, the first 30, 45 minutes of that speech was spot on. The way he dealt with the Republicans, like the little spoiled Republicans, not the rank and file Republican, but, all his talk about working across the aisle, bipartisanship, this and that. That dude was on point. That dude was on point. Shout out to Sleepy Joe. He up now. But I still think he's too old to be president. And if people are thinking about giving him another 4 years, president, you know what I mean? We gotta have another vice president, because I'm not trying to be one breath away from Kamala Harris being president of the United States of America. That's not the America that I personally want to live in. But shout out to shout out to Sleepy Joe. Shout out to Sleepy Joe doing his thing last night. So if y'all haven't seen it, check it out. So here's something I found, Healthline, and this was back in 2019. I wanted to start here, and I got another thing we're going to pull up, and we're going to look at some numbers that are more recent. But what's the average person's number of sexual partners? They're talking lifetime on this, right? And it says the average number of sexual partners, it varies from men and women in the United States. It's 7.2 for men I'm sorry, for men and women in the United States, the average is 7.2. And this is a recent super drug survey. Remember, this was back in 2019, y'all. And then the numbers are different from state to state. How does the average vary by state? And as it turns out, the average number of sexual partners varies drastically from state to state. Louisiana residents reported an average of 15.7 sexual partners. They getting it in Louisiana. While Utah clocked in at 2.6. But the difference makes sense. Over 62% of Utah's residents are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and which promotes abstinence until marriage. And, you know, it looks like all of Utah kind of does that, whereas Louisiana seems to be the opposite. It seems to be the opposite. So I just wanted to the number I really want us to focus on is the 7.2, right? That 7.2 number. The average number of sexual partners for men and women in the United States is 7.2. And I want to say that this number is lifetime partners, right? So I wanted to start there. Right. I wanted to start there. And then we have there's another one I want to get into that I think will be pretty good for us to look at. And let me pull that up. Now, it really dives into the numbers. It's a little bit more recent. And it uses data from the CDC and other places as well. And that's the one I want to have fun with. But you see that 7.2 number going all the way back to, some years back. But this is going to be a little more recent. And let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So, like, this number that's coming up now is, y'all gonna get a kick out of this. But everyone's talking about body count, yo. I don't get it. Why? Like, what is the deal? You feel me? You know what I'm saying? We got Brother Paul Ben in the house. What's good, fam? Always been fascinated by the British Parliament meetings. Yeah, I like that too, the way they go back and forth. This was kind of close to that. I see where you're going with this, Brother Paul. More rockets than our State of the Union sessions, and you must think quickly on your feet. This was the closest I've seen to it, and he handled it well. Yes, he did. And we're talking, and Brother Paul's talking about the State of the Union, where President Biden was engaging with his opposition, and it wasn't all of the Republicans neither. And one thing I was paying close attention to with that State of the Union address is you can see that the Republicans are not in lockstep, whereas the Democrats are. So there is definitely some sort of leadership void on the Republican side of things. And, there's no one that can kind of keep everybody in check. At least, you know what I mean? At least for events like this where, we're just dressed, and let's just lock arms for this. There was a lot of Republicans standing up and clapping for a lot of things that President Biden was saying that they backed. And like the president was saying, he's like, I'm not saying that all my friends on the right. I said some of them. Some of my friends are saying this and saying that and blah, blah, blah. I got to give it to you, brother. I agree with you there, Brother Paul. It's, that was a win for Biden. Now, I didn't, the first part of the speech I was in 100%. When he started talking about law enforcement, started talking about guns, started talking about all that stuff towards the middle of the speech, he lost me on a lot of that. And then the end of the speech was kind of like mediocre. So, but overall, scale of 10, overall, I have to give him like 7.5 on that speech. The first part of that speech, he was a home run for the very first part, because most people only watch the first 30, 45 minutes anyway. So for that part, definitely a home run. For the overall, I would give it 7.5. 7 or 7.5. Because that was crazy. Dr. B, I can believe that number for men, but not so much for most women. Oh, yeah, we're going to get into it. This next one really gets into breaking it down between men and women. We're talking about body count between men and women and age group. So these next numbers we're going to look at, it's going to be kind of cool. Brother Paul with the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it looks like the stream is kind of stabilized a little bit. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Sister Candace, when you have to vote 9 times to decide who will lead the house, exactly. There's a leadership vacuum. The Republicans got to get it together. You know what I mean? Sleepy Joe has definitely got his shit together, and along with the rest of the Democrats, I hope the Republicans are taking notice. My brother and sister Republicans out there, get it together. Get it together. Because Sleepy Joe just basically put forth his platform. He's looking for another 4 years. I hope he doesn't get it. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I love the platform that he just put out there. He just set the terms for this election cycle. And who y'all got out there right now? You know what I mean? Trump, whatever. Nikki Haley, I'm kind of curious to see what she has to say about that. I haven't watched a lot of the reaction stuff. Be ready for a video, y'all. I'm going to do a video about it. I have to do a video about what's going on with State of the Union. But let me get back on mission because I'm off. I'm off my mission right now. And Brother Paul, again, I appreciate the $5, man. I really do. And Sister Candace, shout out to Brother Paul Bennett for the super chat. Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate that, bro. So let's get back to it. I was able to pull this up. Now, here's the article I really want to get into, y'all. This is the one. And it talks about, so this is from, let's go all the way up to the top. Sexual Alpha. Don't know who these people are. Again, this is, we got to take everything with a grain of salt. This is no established media, mainstream media outlet or anything like this. I mean, I think maybe it's a step or two above Reddit, but it certainly isn't the Wall Street Journal. They did a pretty good job presenting this. This was back July 15th of last year. Average number of sexual partners, what's your number? And this is based on 2022 data. And this is where we definitely want to get into. Let's see, let me check to make sure the stream is good. Looks like it is. It's still going. It's a little bit delayed, but it's going. So the average number of sexual partners depend on many factors: age range, country, gender, and sexuality, have to name a few. Find out all recent trends and stats here. So again, we're going to take this with a grain of salt, but they compiled a lot of data and they showed their work. They put links to all their studies that they were citing. They put links. So, and we'll just get right into it, right? It's like 9.3% of college students report having 4 or more sexual partners, and that was in 2017, right? So almost 10% of college students said they had 4 or more sexual partners for the 4 years that they were in school or however long they were in school. And that was back to 2017. Safe to say that number has gone up, right? I'm pretty sure we could go ahead and say that number has gone up probably a lot. And it kind of goes into the article itself. Is actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna link this in the chat so y'all can check it out. It's a pretty good read. I'm not gonna lie to you. Pretty good read. So definitely check this out. I just put it in the chat. And then so I just wanted to jump around in this thing. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but we'll start with the first few paragraphs and then we'll just jump around and look at the studies and the reports and stuff that they found. Have you ever wondered how many sexual partners the average person in the U.S. and other countries has had in their lifetime? Well, as it turns out, many are curious about this topic. So we've seen here, if I do say so myself. In this article, we'll look at various studies that reveal fascinating insights into the average number of lifetime sexual partners. It's important to note that the average varies depending on 3 major factors: country, age range, and gender. For example, in the U.S., men have more partners than women across all age groups. All right, now that kind of goes against what the red pill kind of puts out there. You know what I mean? It kind of goes against the mainstream media is now starting to, when we talk about sexless men, it kind of pushes against that. But we're going to see exactly, what the numbers have. But to say that, men are having more sex across than women, that's what really caught my attention. This is the reason why I wanted to read this article. If you're ready to jump right in, here are a few statistics to help you understand this existing topic. Now, I don't know who was surveyed. I don't know how they did their studies. We're going to have to look at that probably at a later time just to see what's going on. But, these are good numbers. I think these are good numbers. And every now and then, y'all, I keep jumping back to catch the live feed to make sure we're still not glitching as much, but I'm still getting the indicator that my signal strength is very low. That is my connection is unstable. And I think maybe all I have to do is maybe start and restart my computer and start and restart my server and all that. But I'll do that after the show. So we're just going to try to push through it. Let's see, top multiple sexual partner statistics you should know. The average number of sexual partners was 9 in 2005. So the average number of sexual partners lifetime, I think we're talking about the world here, was 9. The average number of sexual partners among men was 6 and 4.3 among women. And I think they're talking about the world. The highest average number of sexual partners globally, that's per lifetime. In India, 3 recorded the lowest. India, home of the Kama Sutra, had the least amount of sexual partners lifetime. 9.3 of college students reported having 4 or more partners in 2017, and having an average of 15.2 sexual partners is 2 promiscuous for women and 14 2 promiscuous for men. So these are just some stuff that they throw out there right away. And then it kind of goes into these different studies. You can see it here, lifetime average number of partners among men and women. The 2021 research indicates a gender difference between men and women in their tendencies to have more than one sexual relationship with the opposite sex in their lifetime. In 2002, it looks like men were having the average number was 6.7 lifetime partners for men, and women was 3.8 in 2002, is for the world. And you see the numbers for 2006 to 2010. 6 was the average for men, 3.9 for women. And 2011 to 2015, 6.1 for men, 4.2 for women. You see the numbers are pretty much consistent. They don't really change that much either way. So, I mean, and like it goes on to say, this is probably not surprising that most people in the world have been with more than one sexual partner in their lifetime. This applies to both men and women and has been statistically proven to be true. So statistically, these numbers tend to hold up. And again, the global average number is 9, and that's going back to 2005. So now we're going to get into the American numbers. Let me just jump on a one shot real quick. We're going to get into the American numbers in a second. Let me catch up with the chat. I talked about that. So yeah, and I hope y'all check out this article that I put in there. Dr. B, if you look at the numbers, most of the women reported fewer partners and most of the guys reported more. Yeah, they talk about that too. That women tend to underreport their number of sexual partners and men tend to overreport their number of sexual partners. And that has a lot to do with, societal norms. I'm not going to pull this up, but in the first article, it talks about this. Find it when it talked about how, here it is right here. How often do people lie about their number? According to the survey, 41.3% of men and 32.6% of women admitted to lying about their sexual history. Overall, men were more likely to increase their number of sexual partners, whereas women were more likely to decrease it. Still, 5.8% of women and 10.1% of men admitted to both increasing and decreasing the number, depending on the circumstances. Honestly, it's easy to understand why people might lie about their number. Outdated social expectations might lead men to believe they need to increase their number to seem more impressive. On the flip side, women might feel they have to decrease their numbers so they aren't seen as promiscuous. Either way, it's important to remember that your sexual history is your own business. No one should ever feel pressure to adhere to society or specific individuals' standards. And that was from that Healthline article that we first pulled up. So that's never going to change, I don't think. I don't think in my lifetime we're going to see, although people are trying, I don't think we're going to see women coming out there like, yeah, I got 100 bodies. In the same way that men will come out. A man will come out and say that, like, I got this many sexual partners, because it demonstrates that there's something about you that women are attracted to. Right. And Fresh and Fit talks about this all the time. And a lot of people in the Red Pill talks about it. In order for a man to get that much sexual attention from women, he has to have some value. There's something about that man that, enables him to be with that many women. Therefore, he is valuable. Like, he has value. So guys are always going to lie and say that they've been with more women than they actually have. And then there's the stigma attached with being, inexperienced and stuff like that. Because, again, if we accept the fact that men who've been with a lot of women are considered valuable, then men who haven't been with a lot of women and aren't good at getting women, single men I'm talking about, then they're going to be looked on as having little or no value. And then with women, it's easy for women to get sex. So if a woman says she has 100 sexual partners, they're going to look down on that. Like, ugh. Like, you just giving it to anybody. Ugh. You know what I mean? Whereas a woman who can say, hey, I've only had 1 or 2 sexual partners, that woman's going to always be looked at in a higher esteem, you know what I mean? In a more flattering light. So it's going to be what it's going to be. Dr. B, if you look at the numbers, most reported, I read that. Women underreport. Yep. So I did want to definitely throw that in there. Sister Candace, I watch a lot of reality TV, MAFS, Love is Blind, Love Island, etc. And Americans seem to be over-sexualized compared to people from other countries. Just my observation. We are. We're over-sexualized and at the same time prudish in our approach to sex. It's weird. I don't know how it can be both, but it seems to be both. Like, we are completely over-sexualized. You look at advertising, you look at for TVs, movies, for books, magazines, right? What's on the cover? It's going to be something sexual. It's going to be some hot woman. It's going to be some attractive man, or, you know what I mean, a car or something like that. But sex sells. Sex sells in America because America represses sexuality to the extent that it does, whereas these same tactics wouldn't work in the UK. It wouldn't work in Greece or Spain or France or Eastern Europe. Not the same degree, in my opinion, that it does in America, because it's so taboo. Like, sex is so taboo. But then you look at Louisiana, right? Because then there's these other numbers. Louisiana comes up again when it talks about the states with the highest body counts or whatever. So I agree with you. And I think it goes back to the way we educate our kids, and I think it goes back to our religious roots and stuff like that. But I agree with you, sis. It is one of those things. The shows I mentioned above have been recorded in various places such as the U.S., Japan, Australia, Brazil, etc. I don't watch a whole lot of reality stuff. I've never been a fan of reality TV. People are trying to get me to watch the one when people get married at first sight. So I guess it's a show where they talk, they communicate, but they can't see each other. All the women can, see each other. All the men can see each other, but they don't see each other until a certain part of the show, and then they agree to get married or something like that. I've seen a couple shows like that, and I can't. I try to watch y'all, but I can't. You know what I mean? I just can't. But my buddy Jay Swans and his wife were like, hey, you got to watch this one show. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to get to it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. And I mean, you see a lot of red pill truths come out in these type shows, like the stuff that the Manosphere talks about. You see it in these shows. You see what the guys are attracted to, youth and beauty, and you see how women can be hypergamous, but I don't watch enough of them. Dr. B, like we always say, men have to bring value to deal with women romantically. Facts. Yes. I mean, there are dudes out there who can swing it with no value, but they have the gift of gab, and they'll talk their way into it, because the best way to get to a woman is through her emotions, like through what she hears. Best way to get to a man is by what he sees and feed him, really. Like, it's just it. You know what I mean? Sister Candace, my husband hates reality TV. Must be a man thing. Yeah, I can't stand it. If I had a significant other, like if I had a wife, because I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm off the live-in girlfriend. I can't do that. I just can't. That was my big thing growing up. I'm like, oh, you got to do this. It was part of my vetting process. You have to live with me, and that would help me determine if I want to marry you. But yeah, I was wrong in that thinking. I really was. Because I was getting the milk for free. It was like being able to test drive a car for 2 years and then bring it back. Nah, I don't want it, and not have to pay for it. You know what I mean? So you would just be continuously test driving cars. So the live-in girlfriend thing, I tell people to really think about that. Excuse me. When people are like, I don't want to live in, I'm like, man, you really need to give it some thought. Especially now because both parties can really hurt the other party, like by lying and setting them up and then getting the court system or whatever outside entities involved. It could be a bad thing. But yeah, girl, that's the only way to get me to watch a reality show is some woman I'm interested in, some woman I respect and want to be with. She would have to well, you made me watch the Bengals, so you got to watch this. And I'm like, all right, you did watch the Bengals with me, so I guess we'll watch your reality TV. And then if I watch it, I'll try to actually pay attention and follow it. But I don't like it. But that's the compromise that goes into every relationship. I tell folks all the time, it's all about compromise. So, but yeah, girl, I can't stand reality TV. Yuck. But back to these numbers. Overall, men tend to have more lifetime sexual partners than women. And this study is from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in 2021. So these are American numbers right here. And let me see if I can blow these numbers up so you guys can see them a little bit better. There it is. So this is from a CDC 2021 study. Men have an average of 6.3 sexual partners while women have a 4.3 sexual partner average. So, and we're talking lifetime, guys, lifetime. And again, we don't know how the study was conducted. But it shows that men have more sexual partners over a lifetime. Now, here's the thing. Here's the anecdotal part. I know women that have way more than these numbers. You know what I mean? And I have way more than these numbers. So, again, that's the anecdotal stuff. It's just like, well, man, who are these people? I don't know them. Let's see, it says 12.9% of female and 28.3% of male respondents revealed having 15 or more partners in a lifetime. So only, let's say 13% of women and 28% of men that responded to this study said they had more than 15 partners. That number seems real low to me. Especially with the hookup culture. And again, this is 2021 numbers, especially with the hookup culture, especially with the highly sexualized, kid, like the culture we have in America, and we know men or women both are going to be lying. This number, and this is the average. Let's see, 11.6% of female and 12.5% of males respondents revealed having 10 to 14 partners. Right. So they're kind of breaking it down by the count, 15 or more, and then 10 to 14. So now you're getting up to what? That's 23, maybe 24% of women have more than 10 sexual partners. Okay. Then it goes down again. 28.6% of female and 25.8% of male respondents revealed having 5 to 9 partners. So you're looking at people in America who's had more than 5 partners lifetime. Right now, you got to add these up, right? So it's like, let's say that's 30, 40, 50. So almost, let's say 50 to 55%. My math is really loose, y'all, because I'm not the strongest. But you know what I mean? Someone help me with the math out there. We add these up, 28.6, 11.6, 12.9. That number. And I just rounded up. So look at 30, 41. So that would be 54. So about 55% of women in America back in 2021 were reporting having more than 5 sexual partners. 5 is the magic number because there are studies out there that say that women who have over 5 sexual partners tend to divorce more. Right? That's like the magic number. And we talked about that on one of the shows back in the day. Can y'all believe we got over 200? We got over 200 shows on Downrange Podcast. I mean, on this. I really want to know y'all. Man, I'm putting out the content. I'm gonna have to pull back on the content. Maybe focus more on quality than quantity. I'm putting out a whole lot of content. I'm gonna have to pull back a little bit and try to make them better. But we're looking at over 50% of females back in 2021 had more than 5 sexual partners, 5 or more sexual partners. I'm looking at that, looking at that. Like they're breaking this down. And I don't know how many women I'm pretty sure these numbers did not, include the women. This this 28%, I'm pretty sure does not include the 12.9, the 11.6 and all that. So, women are getting out there. And then when you add up the men who have over 5 sexual partners, let's see, as what, 25, call that 37. I mean, it gets up there. And now you're looking at, let's see, 37 and 28. Like what, 64% or something like that? So according to these numbers, back in 2021, men are still having more sex than women. But yeah, see what I mean about these numbers? You know what I mean? Like, well, these numbers, if you start really looking at the numbers, it's like, how does it add up? Because you got guys out there, 28.3% of males that were, responding to this thing said they had over 15 partners. Well, who they smashing? Right? Like, who are they having sex with? If all these other cohorts are if all these other numbers are to be believed, who are they smashing? So, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that's kind of, Dr. B, like we always say, men have to bring value to deal with women romantically. That's right. Sister Candace Myers hates reality TV. Yeah, I thought I covered that already, Dr. B. Most of the women responded 2 to 4, and most of the men responded 15 plus. That's some serious cap. Exactly. So right off the rip, we know the guys are lying or capping big time to make themselves look a certain way, and the women are lying as well to make themselves look a certain way. So it's like, what numbers do we believe? And again, that was back in 2021. We got brother Jose in the house, man. What's good, fam? And he's like, yeah, talking to Sister Candace, reality TV is garbage. Your husband is valid. Yeah, for real. It was good with you, brother. Always a pleasure to see you, man. Yes. Please like and subscribe, man. Please do. But always good to see you, bro. I see you in these YouTube trenches, bro. We be out there chewing on the same dirt, bro, having a good time. But these numbers just don't seem to mesh. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna drop the link in case anybody want to come up and chop it up a little bit about these numbers, because I'm curious to hear y'all take on it. But the article, yeah, I just thought this was a pretty cool article. It goes on, it says, it may be hard to believe that trends have remained essentially unchanged over the past years despite the boom of online dating. Exactly. And that's another thing too. We know women are out here smashing. You can tell by their dating profiles. I'm tired of the games. I'm looking for someone serious. I want to settle down. I don't want to hook up anymore. All the young girls making these YouTube videos about how hookup culture is bad, right? All the stories we hear about people in college, right? And again, all the anecdotal stuff. Everyone is talking about these sexual experiences, good and bad. Yet when the formal studies are conducted, these people are just lying. They're outright capping. Interestingly, there were neither significant decreases nor increases in the average number of sexual partners of men and women aged 25 to 44 from 2002 to 2015. I could believe that. But after 2017, certainly by 2019, I think the numbers will have skyrocketed, but we're going to see. 2002 American men reported having an average of 6.7 sexual partners, while women averaging 8, and that's the disease control and prevention. 2006 to 2010, men averaged 6 lifetime partners, while women averaged 3.9. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're looking at this, I think we're all in agreement that these numbers just don't sound right, but are we to believe the numbers or not? 2011 to 2015, the male average 6.1, female 4.2. This shows the female went up a little bit. Like, what do we need to add to get to the true numbers? Like, what number do we need to deduct from the men and add to the women to get to the true number? In 2013, the highest average number of sexual partners among British men was 12.6 and 7.7 for women. That was in the UK, and that's the National Center for Biotechnology Information back in 2013. The same trend goes for the percentage of men and women aged 15 to 44 who have had 15 or more sexual partners over the said period. Centers of Disease Prevention. So, back in 2002, 23.2% of men and 9.2% of women said they had between 15 to 44 sexual partners. I'm sorry, over 15 or more and it was age 15 to 44. And then in 2006, the number for men went down slightly, 21.6 for men, and 9% from as well. And when you look at 2015, that number went down even more for men, a little bit, 21% of men, and then it went up for women, 10.1% for women, having age 15 to 44, having 15 or more sexual partners, right? Like, yo, this stuff right here is crazy, yo. You know, I mean, we got Wonderful 34 in the house. What's good, fam? How you feeling? How are you feeling, man? Always a pleasure to see you, man. Always, always, always. Is Doug's in the house? Big brother Doug. Is Doug in the house? If Doug's in the house, that's for you, player. You in the house, man. Good to see you as well. Hey, y'all, just real quick before I forget. I got on Twitter, I don't know, back in 2012 or 2015, whenever Twitter came out, I got on there, but I never really engaged on Twitter ever. In fact, I couldn't remember my logon password, nothing. I didn't have the app on my phone. I recently got back on Twitter, like, you know, it's on my phone now, and Patrick Bet-David had Roland Martin on, I think it was yesterday, and I watched it. I did my best to watch it, and it was just, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was hoping for a really good conversation. Like, oh man, this would be a good conversation. Roland Martin, PBD, and Roland was just emotional, bro, all over the place. Like I couldn't, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, what the hell? So on Twitter, PBD suggested that they do another one. It's like, bro, it'd be nice. Once you come back, we'll do another one. And I answered the tweet. Like I said, agreed. It'd be nice to see less emotion. I really want to hear what the brother's point of view. And I was talking about Roland. And Roland Martin, he responded to me, y'all, on Twitter. He responded, and he was like, well, you must not have been listening. I was like, I was listening, bro. I was listening in and I'm listening now, right, in my response. Like I was listening in and I'm listening now. And I was like, and I went on because the question that Patrick Bet-David wanted an answer to and he did not get, Patrick Bet-David wanted to know why black people stay with the Democratic Party, it seems like, no matter what. They don't even, explore the idea of maybe riding with another party. And Roland never answered that. And it got all over the place, man. So I'm definitely going to be doing some shorts on it. I'm going to be reacting to the CRT stuff. I'm going to be reacting to some of the other stuff that was said during that interview. But I'm just saying, y'all, like that Twitter stuff works, man. Like Roland Martin had to answer my tweet. And on my Twitter handle is DL_Saint, and there's a picture of me on stage. So he knows he's talking to a black man. So I'm about to check that picture again, but it's a picture of me performing on stage. So because remember, I got on Twitter a long time ago, and that's when I was really hot and heavy into my stand-up. So just want to throw that out there, y'all. I was going back and forth with Roland Martin, and it's like, bro, just answer the question. For the record, I think black folks should work with whatever party is going to do the most for the black community, period. End of statement. What are you going to do for us? Because the black vote is enough today to get either party in the White House. Right now, I would argue, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would argue that the black community has more leverage today than it's ever had. You know what I mean? Probably going back since the end of slavery, before Jim Crow. I would say that the black vote is extremely powerful right now, but we're just not using the leverage. But yeah, that's another conversation. That's for another show. But I just wanted to let y'all know, man, that was crazy as hell. Casual Germs in the house. What's good, fam? It's like, yeah, Roland was acting out. He most certainly was. When I saw that, I ain't gonna lie to you, man, I was disappointed. I'm like, come on, bro. Here's your opportunity, man. Come on, bro. And I get it. Like, the PBD chat, they got some wild ones in there, but I mean, it is what it is. So let's get back to it, though. It breaks down the countries with the highest average number of sexual partners. Turkey, number 1 with 14.5 average partners per lifetime. Australia, 13.3, New Zealand, Iceland, South Africa. America's not in the top 5. Crazy. Crazy. Right? This study presents a stark contrast between societies that have adopted liberal views on sexual intercourse and its practice and those that remain to uphold conservative sexual ideals. So I guess America would be in that cohort. Conversely, the following countries recorded the lowest averages. So India, 3. I'm tripping that India, home of the Kama Sutra, right? The oldest sex book that I know of. The average is 3 sexual partners. And they have so many instances over there where, women are attacked and violently attacked. You know what I mean? EPAR thing, so the average is 3. Wow. China, 3.1. Vietnam, 3.2. Vietnam, what happened to me? Love you long time. 3.2. I guess they only love 3.2 people long time. Hong Kong, 3.7. Indonesia, 5.1. So I guess we're in the middle. America didn't make the top 5 nor the bottom 5. So you're looking at the UK. Similar study in 2017 listed the following countries as having the highest averages in Europe. So this was a 2017 study, y'all. The previous one was 2021. UK was 7. Netherlands was 6.9. Italy, 5.4. Belgium, Germany. Belgium with 5.41 and Germany with 6.2. And they're pretty liberal when it comes to sex over there. And the average number of sexual partners in the U.S. So here we go. The average number of sexual partners in the U.S., 14.8 is the average number of sexual partners among Americans. This number right here, I wanted to highlight because I think the number is high because women are getting out there. I think this number is pretty accurate. The average number of sexual partners in the U.S., 14.8. I think the number is high because women are more sexually liberated here in America, and they're doing their thing. And I think what's bringing the number down is men, more importantly, the sexless men, right? So a 2017 survey indicates that the average number of sexual partners among Americans is below the global average. However, another study in 2021 suggests that it is higher. So the average in 2017 was 7.2. That was a super drug study in 2017. The average in 2021 was 14.8. And that was Bespoke Surgical, and that was 2021 study. And all these studies are pinned to the bottom of this article. If you guys go read the article, you can actually go get the numbers yourself. And then they do a breakdown by state. Yo, this state breakdown had me tripping. The average number of sexual partners in the U.S. by state. Here's a list of states in the U.S. with the highest averages. Washington, 54.8 lifetime sexual partners, yo. What is going on in Washington? Cause I mean, I was in California. I should have gone up to Washington. 54.8. Wow. I mean, it gets cold. I guess it's a lot of snuggling going on, right? Wow, that's up there. 54.8 lifetime, right? Connecticut, 31 lifetime. New Mexico, 20.8. Wisconsin, really? Wisconsin, 19.4 bodies for your lifetime. Arkansas, 18.9. Georgia, 18.6. Maryland, Kansas, Michigan, and Florida, all between 18.4 and 15.1. I can't believe Florida is so low. 15.1? Yo, I know here in Tampa, man, they be getting down. They be getting down. Like 15.1? Word? You're probably wondering what the states with the highest average number of sexual partners. To get the answer, we turn to a 2017 study published by Superdrug. So you probably wonder where they got these numbers, and they got them from that study. Louisiana with 15.7 lifetime. Oklahoma, Nebraska, South Carolina, each with 10. Kansas, Mississippi, West Virginia, with 5 each, according to the Superdrug 2017 study. In 2021, the following topped, what's that? Bespoke Surgical's list of states were in the U.S. where the highest averages of sexual partners. And again, Washington with 54.8. What the hell is going on in Washington? I need to go visit Seattle with my old butt. You know what I mean? Casual German saying Turkey is predominantly Muslim. They be getting down, man. You might want to lie if you're in a Muslim nation. You don't want to go in there talking about you done had, 15 partners and you ain't even married, they might do something to you, especially if you're a woman. Dr. B, a lot of those countries with low counts are pretty conservative, but Turkey is surprising. Yeah, Turkey is surprising to me too. I thought it would be like Spain or Greece or something like that. Dr. B, I wonder if it's high in Seattle for Washington State. Yeah, it must be. Or Spokane. Something's going on in Washington. even Sister Candace was like, yo, with the crazy emoji, like, what? Casual Germ, Illinois isn't up there, seeing how Chicago has over 2 million people in the city. You're right. You're right. Some of these places with big cities, you would think a state like, again, like Chicago, Illinois, you would think Chicago will push that up. But maybe people ain't smashing as much as we think. Illinois ain't up there, seeing how Chicago has over 2 million people in the city. That's crazy. And then Dr. B, they kept Miami out. Survey for Florida. Yes, they did. Miami will probably wreck the average. So here's the other side of it, y'all. Let's pull this back up. So let's get to the other side of it, right? Here are the states with the lowest averages. Pennsylvania, 8.6. South Carolina, 8.6. Colorado, 8.6. Illinois, there you go, bro. Casual Germ. Illinois made the bottom end of the list, man. 8.7 counts for that state. Arizona, 9.2. Mississippi, 9.2. New Jersey, 9.3. Indiana, 9.4. Ohio, 9.7. I'm from the nasty natty, bro. I thought Cincinnati was up. That's without, if you took Cincinnati out of Ohio, that number would probably drop down by 3 or 4 points. I know they're getting it in Cincinnati, bro. Oregon, 10. So this is the bottom end of the spectrum. Right? So, wow, to go from Pennsylvania, where the average is 8.6 bodies over a lifetime, to Washington, where it's 54.8. That's a huge swing. Huge. Lady Navoa's in the house. What's good, love? That's a huge swing. And I'm still shocked at Florida. 15.1, that's it. You know what I mean? And Casual Germ was worried about Illinois, man, and they came in, man, 8.7. Right? So, and then it gets into by age group, man. The average number of lifetime sexual partners by age group. Now, this number right here, you would think will keep swinging because one way or the other, because you're going to slow down as you get older, you would imagine, unless you live down here in Florida, because these old people down here be getting it in. But when you're younger, you would assume that number is going to go up. Like the younger you are, you get your couple partners or whatever, but then you hit the college years and that number might explode, and then you start partying and that number really gets out of control, and then you get married or settle down or whatever, and that number will start to subside. But who knows? Who knows? So the average number of sexual partners people say, which is key, y'all, they say they've had in their lifetime vary significantly by age. Again, key word, say, right? In their 20s, most men, 65.3%, and women, 67.9%, became more exploratory and engaged in sexual relations with more than one person in their 20s. This makes sense. In this number, more women in this cohort, more women are engaging by these numbers than men, 67.9 versus 65.3. This can be a defining moment in their lives as they try to figure out what they want from relationships. All right, and that's the National Center of Biotechnology Information 2021. So I think this organization is in the UK. I think they're in London. So I guess they were over here studying Americans. No, I take that back. You know what? They were just doing their own studies. I think these are based on UK. Yeah, I think these are the world numbers, and I think the study was centered out of the UK. So, and I think these are the world numbers. So, the numbers are there, man. So it says that 72%, 1,592 women who were surveyed, and 70.5%, which is 1,581 men, aged 15 to 19, had 0 or 1 sexual partner. Right. So for the youngins, from 15 to 19, 0 to 1 sexual partner, that makes sense. That makes sense. Although my number was 2 when I was in this cohort, my number was 2. But that makes sense. I wonder where those numbers are today. I wonder if those numbers have gone up. So 2 to 4 sexual partners, women, like 30.9% of women aged 30 to 34 said they had 2 to 4 partners. And 25.6% of men aged 25 to 29 said they had 2 to 4. So they're not even, so the age groups are even different, but the number is still low. So let's jump down here to 10 to 39 sexual partners. Right. So I guess 20%, 20.1%, which is 437 women in the survey, aged 30 to 34, and 34.2%, which was 522 men, aged 35 to 39, said they had between 10 and 39 sexual partners. More than 40 sexual partners, 2.3% of the women surveyed, which was 44 women, aged 40 to 44, said they had more than 40 sexual partners over their lifetime. And 8.8% of men, it was 132 men, aged 30 to 35, said they had more than 40 sexual partners. And that, again, that's 2021. And I think this is the world. These are the world numbers. And it goes into women. Of course, it continues to break it down. And let's say if we get into the American numbers, see if they break it down like that, because I can't remember. Right. And it goes into students. And I don't know who did this. See, and the only thing that's confusing about this particular survey is I'm not sure if they're talking about the world or they're talking about America. Like they jump back and forth, kind of like I'm jumping back and forth through this thing. Right. So, and it makes it easy when they state the study. So I can like, oh, if it's CDC, then I know it's American. And if it's that other study, that biotech thing, then I know it was overseas. But in 2017, average number of lifetime sexual partners for students. In 2017, college students reported they had so like 9.3% of students said they had 4 or more sexual partners. 32.5% of the students reported they had no sexual partners. 5.1% said it was 3 sexual partners. 8.8% of students said it was 2 sexual partners. And 44.2% said they only had 1 sexual partner while they were in school. Now, I'm pretty sure when they did the survey, it was like, okay, up until this point. Like if you're a sophomore, you still got 2 more years in school. Like if you were a senior, you would think the numbers would be higher. That's your final year. If you're in grad school, I don't know if they taught the grad school people. So I might have to go back and actually read the studies and see what parameters were set up. So, yeah. And then, here, these are American numbers, by the way. It looks like the American College Health Association did these numbers, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. So 1998, 2017, 2018, 2018. So yeah, for the college stuff, it looks like it's American numbers, which these numbers are what they are. You know what I mean? Sister Candace, those numbers have probably quadrupled for the ages of 15 and 19. Exactly. You know what I mean? Certainly for 15 to 24, those numbers have gone way up. So, it says high school and college life are a period of exploration, a time to try new things and find out who you are, how you fit into the world, and who you are as a sexual being. Yes, agreed. I agree with that. I think most people would. Having a sexual relationship with more than one person at a time is not uncommon among high school students and college students. Yeah, it wasn't uncommon when I was in high school, and I was in high school in the 80s. I would imagine that, and think about this too. All of the movies that we watched growing up, and I know I'm old, but all of those movies, 16 Candles and all that stuff, Porky's, all those movies revolving around high school life always revolved around sex. And then, I don't want to be a virgin, or look, you a virgin. So all those movies that we would sit down and watch as kids, it always revolved around the jock getting on with the girl, and then the jock smashes the girl and acts like he doesn't know her, and then the girl turns to the beta nerd dude, the simp dude, and then at the end, the simp dude finds a friend who teaches him how to fight, and he fights the jock, and then he gets the girl, and they live happily ever after. But the thing is this: sex was always involved, and they weren't shying away from it. They were smashing in the movies. Like the hero wasn't the hero. He didn't win until he smashed. Or she was like, yeah, he's going to get this or whatever. So that's a little bit of program. It's a little bit of propaganda. You know what I mean? In high school, they're talking about this sort of thing. Now, I know that the latest numbers show that young kids are having less sex. Those numbers, the high school kids, they don't really start messing around until they get to college. So like in high school, and it makes sense because kids aren't outside like we used to be outside. Kids are in the house. So so there's that. But I just find it fascinating. You know what I mean? Like these numbers and how these numbers are interpreted. So 23.4% of male students in the 9th to 12th grade revealed having at least 4 sex partners in their lifetime. And that's from the Centers of Disease Control in 1998. I had 2. Actually, if you go from 9th to 12th, I had 1. You know what I'm saying? So that number has jumped up because that was the 80s, right? So I graduated in 90. So the 8 years that I got out of high school, that number went way up. You know what I mean? So, okay. And I think that number might still be growing. So I guess I just proving my own little theory. I guess they still getting it in. 9.3% of college students reported they had 4 or more sexual partners in 2017. That's from American College Health Association. 5.1% of college students reported they had 3 sexual partners in 2017. Same source. 8.8% of college students reported they had 2 sexual partners in 2017. 44.2% of college students reported they had 1 sexual partner in 2017. So it looks like they were definitely doing it. They were getting it in. They just weren't having as many sexual partners, or at least they weren't willing to report if they were. And 35.2% of college students reported they had no sexual partners in 2017. And again, if you listen to Red Pill stuff, they'll say, "Oh, that's mostly dudes. Dudes weren't getting it." You know what I mean? And I ain't mad at them. And then they talk about where do people draw the line. The definition of too promiscuous varies from person to person. We have our own idea about what's acceptable for us and what isn't, which can change over time. So 15.2% of women, 15.2% of women were saying, I guess, over 14 partners was too much. Am I reading this right? Oh, okay. Yeah. Women would say if a man had over 15.2 partners, that's too much. He's smashing too much. That's too promiscuous. And men would say if a woman had 14 or more partners, that she's a 3 or 4. And then on the other side of that, if a woman would say if a man only had 1.9 sexual partners, that he ain't freaky enough, and that's too conservative. And men were saying that 2.3 was too inexperienced, which that's cap right there. A guy does not care. I mean, in fact, you can't be like, I've only been with 2.3 dudes, and the guy be like, go smash 5 more dudes and come back to me. That will never happen. That will never be a thing. You know what I mean? Ever, never. Like a dude is not gonna say go out and smash some more dudes and come see me later. After you do that, they're not gonna say that. A woman who has a low body count is always gonna be prized by dudes. I'm just keeping it 100. Casual germ. I bet that number went up during the C-19 lockdowns. I bet it went up too, bro. You're right about that. That's a good point. Kids were home, and for those parents who could go to work, they were home by themselves, and they had, texting one another, whatever. Come get this. I bet you're right. So yeah. So they're like having an average of 15.2 sexual partners is too promiscuous for women, and 14 is too promiscuous for men. So there you go. They was like, well, where are people drawing the lines? That's where they're drawing the line. And the other side of that, again, if you have 1.9 sexual partners, that's too conservative for women. They want to do with more than 1.9, right? They want more bodies. And then for men, it's like, well, if you have more than 2.3, that's too many bodies. And here's another thing, too. Dudes are not going to kick women out of bed because they're 3 or 4s, bro. They're just going to smash and keep it moving. They're just not going to commit. They're not going to kick them out of the bed. For some people, having sex with multiple partners is completely fine. Yes. For others, it's unthinkable. Some people would even break up with a partner who had many sexual partners whether they've been unfaithful or not. And that's from that Super Drug 2017 survey. And that's my thing. My thing is this, man. Look, look, I don't want to know your body count. I don't care to know your body count. If you have a really high body count, don't tell me. Just don't tell me. I don't want to know. Because if we kicking it, if we are vibing like the kids like to say these days, if we're vibing all is well and you tell me over pillow talk or whatever that, yeah, I've slept with 100 guys, now you just wreck use only. I'm not trying to kick it with you like that. Don't give me that information. Don't. If someone else tells me, plausible deniability. If someone else tells me, oh, that person's a hater, I don't believe them. But if you tell me, I got to take you at your word. Like, what? You know, smashed 100 dudes, but then I took a year off and I didn't have sex for 1 year. So I'm a born again virgin. Doesn't work that way. You got 100 bodies. This ain't going nowhere, baby. You know what I mean? Now let's go let's go in the bedroom and do some real funky stuff. Show me what you learned with them 100 dudes, right? We're going to have some fun and then high five, pat you on the butt, good game, get out. So ladies, if you got a lot of bodies, as I say, keep that to yourself, man. Plausible deniability only works. It only works if there's no proof. And you telling on yourself is plenty of proof. So this study continues to go down. Like 9% of people reported they very likely in a relationship with these numbers that are up here. So, I mean, here it is right here. Like 9% of people would very likely end a relationship if you got a high body count. This was the low body count. This is too many. So if you had too many body, if you reach these numbers, 9% of people said that they very likely end a relationship if you had a high body count. 21% said somewhat likely to end a relationship. 33% were neutral. They didn't care. 20% somewhat unlikely to end a relationship. And 17% would very unlikely end a relationship because of your body count, having too many. And then having a low body count, 2% said they very likely end a relationship if you had a low body count. Right? Yeah, ain't nobody walking away from that. 6% would say somewhat likely to end a relationship if you had a low body count. 22% said they were neutral. 15% would somewhat unlikely end a relationship. And 55% say they were very unlikely in the relationship. Yeah, like why would you get rid of someone who was inexperienced sexually? You don't want to get rid of that person. You know what I mean? That's one of those silly questions. Like, what? You gonna get rid of them because they don't have experience? Stop it. Let me see. Research confirms that people are interested in finding mates with a bit of past sexual experiences, but not too much. That's a weird one. And that came from ResearchGate in 2016. People are less likely to engage in relationships with a partner who has had more than 3 sexual partners. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. But that's what they found in their study. People are less likely to engage in a relationship with a partner who has had no experience in sex than with someone who has one sexual partner. So people are less likely to engage in a relationship with a person who is a virgin than with someone who has had one partner. These two statements are weird to me. I'm not vibing with those two. Why would you? As a man, I don't know if I would. As a man, I don't know if I would want a virgin, especially if I'm not being serious. Like in the back of my mind, I know I'm not gonna be in a long-term relationship and or marry this woman. Why take her virginity? That's just, to me, that's just wrong. So I go like, all right, I don't want to do that. But outside of that, I could care less. I'm not gonna pass up, a woman with a lower count for a woman with a higher count because I want someone who's more experienced. Like, so those last two questions just didn't make sense to me, yo. I ain't gonna lie. That was kind of weird. And then they asked, what are people's ideal body count for partners? What are people's ideal body count for their partner? Research in 2017 indicates that the ideal average lifetime number of past sexual partners for men would be 7.5. So they're saying that men want women who have at least 7.5 sexual partners. That would be the ideal number for them to engage in marriage or a long-term relationship. That's crazy. And for women, it was 7.6. So it looks like men and women in this survey were both like, yeah, I guess 7, because they're kind of running over. I guess that's not too many. You know what I mean? That's not too few. 7. You know what I mean? And it has a note here. It says another study indicates that the ideal number is 2 or 3. So these numbers are all over the place. You know what I mean? And it goes into this. This is for Casual Germ. Do people lie about their body count? We can all agree that it's not always easy sharing this information. We sometimes feel that being honest would cause you to lose a relationship. Right. So 32% lied about their number of sexual partners to their significant other. 32% of people lied. 21% lied because they thought their partner would judge them. Right. And then I guess 17% fabricated a closer number to their partner's body count. So, okay, they lied to match their partner. So their partner said, yeah, I got 5 bodies. And the other person's like, yeah, I got 4. You know what I mean? So whether they have 40 or 3, it didn't matter. They lied. And 48% lied because they're worried about their partner's reaction, which is most people. This number should be way higher. This is why you shouldn't talk about body count, y'all. There's no reason to talk about body count. It just doesn't matter. Right? Should people tell their body count to their partners? Your sexual history is a neutral topic of conversation. I'm sorry, natural. I misread that. Should put my glasses on. Your sexual history is a natural topic of conversation in the first 3 to 6 months of a relationship. So be prepared to disclose it this point if you intend to be an honest partner. I don't agree with this at all. Why are y'all talking body count, man? Within the first 3 to 6 months? Within the first 3 to 6 months, be prepared to get lied to. I don't understand where this is coming from. 40% of people shared their body count in the first 3 months. I mean, why? That's like asking a criminal, did you do it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell the police that I committed the crime. I'm not. Right? Come on now. And as a man, man, has a woman ever asked me how many people I've been with? I don't think a woman's ever asked me how many people I've been with, to tell you the truth. Just keeping it 100. I don't think so. I just don't. If someone asks you this question, you might be dealing with the wrong time. I'm off here. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. 40% of people talk about body count within the first 3 months of a relationship. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So their conclusion here, research and statistical data prove that most people, whether male or female, young or old, just aren't interested in having sex with only one partner throughout their lives. Just like that's true. Just keeping it 100. Gone are the days of, me and you forever. You know what I mean? Forsaking all others. That's what it looks like. And gone are the days of people saving themselves for marriage. So as you're reading this, you might be asking yourself whether or not having more than one sexual partner is right for you. Maybe you feel confused about what it means for your relationship with your partner or with yourself as a person. Or maybe you're feeling anxious about how this may impact your self-esteem. It's entirely up to you whether or not you want to have multiple sexual relationships in your lifetime. Having multiple sexual partners can be risky, but it's also rewarding. Oh, is it now? Especially if the relationships are healthy and respectful. Okay, if you say so. For more interesting sex studies and statistics, head over to our guide, and they have a link there. So, all right, they say so. If they say so. Well, there you have it, y'all. There you have it. I'm just in there. I'm gonna tell you this, as an old dude who's been around the block more than a few times. Ladies, if I'm you, if don't talk about your sexual past, don't talk about your body count, and if you get cornered into it, lie. You heard it here first. Tell them what they want to hear. It is what it is. I'm telling you now, most men are not cool with a woman who's been with a lot of men, especially more men than they've been with. And most men ain't getting it like that. These numbers, these numbers that state, the average number of men, in America, that number was seen pretty high to me. I think it's somewhere between 7 and 10 lifetime partners. Lifetime. Lifetime. You know what I mean? Most of the young women I meet, they have, well over that before they got out of college. You know what I mean? Before they're 26 years old, I would say the average woman probably has between 8 and 15 bodies. If just making up numbers, I mean, it depends on what school she went to, depends on her family background and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the number. But if we accept the numbers that were given to us here, if we accept these numbers as given, it doesn't look like people are smashing as much as we thought. It doesn't look like the men are smashing like that, except in Washington State, of course, right? But everywhere else, it doesn't seem like they're getting it in like that. But let's just keep it 100, y'all. We know people are. We know women are getting down. Women are having fun, man. Like they are liberated sexually. We live in an era where there's no shame, right? There's no accountability. So they're going to go out there and get it. Guys, if they could have sex 4 times a day, they would, but they can't. It's hard to get sexual access for women. Women want the best, as they should. So, ladies, if a guy asks you, what's your body count, pick a low number. Pick a number well under the national average. Right? You want to pick a number like a Utah number or something like that. Pick a low number. Because I'm telling you, that's definitely a shit test. Just like y'all shit test stuff. If the dudes ask you that question, it's a shit test. I would lie. I ain't gonna lie. I'm telling you what, I would lie. You know what I mean? Sister Candace, without a woman disclosing her body count, what are some ways a man can tell her experience level? More so for your audience than and not me. I get that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And Sister Candace always has the best questions. I wish Mrs. Globe Girl was on here because she probably would have been going all the way in. I wish she was on here, my favorite sailor. There's a lot of ways, you know what I mean? Like the Tate brothers have brought this up. Tristan brought this up on Fresh and Fit once. Like when you take a woman somewhere, you take her to a real exclusive hotel, right? You take her on a trip and she goes in there. She knows more about that hotel than you. You know what I mean? Like you're at a San Regis or a Satai or you're at a W or you're at whatever, right? And she knows more about the hotel and how it works than you. Or you walk into a real exclusive restaurant and she knows the maitre d', she knows the wait staff, she knows bartenders. It's like, yo, she's in here a lot. And I know a lot of people like, well, just because she's well-traveled or she's a foodie doesn't mean that she's out there smashing. It does. It really does. If you know that she is, works at a call, like she's a customer care advocate for Spectrum or some cable company, like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, man, she's making about $40,000 a year. She, you know what I mean? Like she's living with her parents who got roommates, but she can go to the finest restaurants and travel to the most exclusive areas on countries on planet Earth. Somebody's paying for that. And if that dude's paying for that, trust and believe he's getting a payout on the other end. So that's one way. Just always being flirty with men. Always being flirty with men. That's like, okay, you really love attention like that? To me, that's another way. Like, okay, you know what I mean? That I know she's got a high body count. There's some subtlety. A lot of it is really hard to pin down. A lot of it is just the way she carries herself. Like when it's time to do the deed, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like, yo, you got a lot of experience. Like when she's ready to get down and do it, and she hits a button, and then like the sex swing falls down and all this other kind of stuff or whatever. It's like, yo, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, all right, this is cool. Or she has all kind of trinkets and stuff to help her, like it is what it is. I don't really care. Like my thing is, if I'm just looking at you, you're a good person. You're a good person. Like the whole sex thing, like so long as you have it under control and you don't come off like a super freak, then we good to go. Like you're not, and the way that she handles her alcohol is another key indicator. The way she handles her alcohol and how, how touchy-feely she gets. You know what I mean? Her falling down on other people's laps, like her clothes coming off. Like, how, how often when she gets drunk, how often do her, her breasts come flying out, or how often is she sitting there with her dress pulled all the way up, legs open when she's sitting next to you, touching all on you, you know what I mean, touching all on your magic stick, you know what I mean, allowing guys to touch on her. All these are indicators of, all right, she might be about it. That's how I look at it. Right, you know what I'm saying? Check her Bluetooth connection. You know what I mean? It's how familiar is she around, like high-end vehicles? Like if she knows how to get into a Lamborghini, shout out to Fresh Prince CEO. He talks about this all the time. I see you, Fresh. But like women who know how to get into a Lamborghini, women who know where the button is to open and close the door in a Rolls Royce. Like there's a lot of things going on in these high-end vehicles. Like you got to get in them to even know that that's how they get down. Like if she readily knows the difference between, where to find the switches on the BMW versus to find the switches on a Mercedes. It's like you ain't driving a BMW or a Mercedes. Like how you know all these things, right? So these are the kind of things, just little bitty indicators. Like, all right, maybe. But that alcohol one, yeah, when she get a couple glasses of wine in her, how flirty she gets. You know what I mean? Like how like dancing like a stripper on her friends, like giving lap dances to her friends, smacking her friends' booties. Like, okay, I look at all that. Like, all right. I see what it is. And of course, how she dress. How does she dress when she come out? You know what I mean? If she puts on a 304 outfit, man, that's a 304. Like, it is what it is. You can have good conversation and everything while she's stone cold sober, but the minute, the minute she get a couple Chardonnays in her, the minute she gets a couple, I don't know, vodka tonics, vodka crayons, and then she turns up, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't even get mad. It is what it is. So there you have it, y'all. Those are the numbers. All right, the numbers on body count. There's the numbers that that are in America and in the rest of the world. So yeah, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I hope that was cool. Be looking out for Uncle Saint to be broadcasting live from Washington here pretty soon. We need to do some investigating on this lifetime sexual partner number coming out of Washington State. We need to do some investigating on that. Wow, what was it, 54 point something? Jeez, that's up there. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed that. That was fun. We'll be back tonight, 7 o'clock. We're going to do a follow-up on the vicious deletion that took place by a passport bro on a beautiful young woman in Bogota, Colombia. We're going to talk about that some more. We're going to talk about the clash between the cultures and, how this could have been prevented on her side. What steps could she have taken? And also on the man's side, like I be telling you dudes, y'all want to be passport bros, that's fine. Understand where you're going, understand the rules of engagement, understand how it works in those towns, in those countries. Understand. And I'm not talking about like basic laws and stuff like that. No, understand, that these, there are places where women will absolutely give the girlfriend experience. You need to understand it is just an experience, not the real thing. You need to understand this. So you don't get over here and fall in love, try to handcuff some chick who's probably already in a long-term relationship, if not married. So we're going to be talking about that tonight, 7 o'clock right here. I hope y'all can make it. And Sister Candace, I'm going to do the breakdown on Rolo on Dr. Phil. I haven't forgotten. I'm going to do that. And tomorrow we're going to, Brother Hayoka and I are going to be talking about deep fake, artificial intelligence technology, AI deep fakes, and what's going on with that. Yeah, that's going to be a real good one. I'm looking forward to that. That thumbnail's already out. That's going to be Brother Hayoka and myself talking about it. I hope y'all can make it. That's going to be tomorrow, 6 p.m. right here. So 7 p.m. tonight with me and Perry breaking down what happened in Bogota with that deletion, that horrific deletion. And then tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Brother Hayoka and I are going to be sitting here talking about deep fakes. And I'll probably be doing a couple shorts talking about politics, man. 'Tis the season now. President just kicked it off. We're going to be talking about breaking down his State of the Union and also breaking down what I think the Republicans need to start doing because that boy ain't playing. Shout out to Sleepy Joe. That dude woke up. You know what I mean? And there he is, right? Speaking of the devil, Brother Hayoka's in the house. What's good, fam? Understand that hypergamy doesn't care about countries. Absolutely. I feel you there, man. Casual Germ, dude, is a jealous psycho. Yes, He was absolutely a jealous psycho. I talked to him in the past tense. I hope nothing happens to him in prison. I hope he gets 50 years, and I hope they they keep him alive and well inside that Colombian prison system, and they just make him suffer every single day for those 50 years. And if he survives all that at 50 or 51, he gets out, and then they take care of business. Because I think for some people, for what he did, a deletion is too easy for him. That man needs to suffer. But who really suffers in that scenario is his children, because they're gonna grow up without a father, and her family, because they're gonna grow up and continue to live without her. We're gonna talk about that tonight. We are definitely gonna talk about that tonight. So listen, thanks for rocking with me, y'all. This was fun. This was a good time. I'm so glad that y'all were able to pop on with me in the middle of the day. It's time for me to go do some daddy things, man. I got to run a couple errands and then go pick up my baby. And I keep calling her a baby, but she's like almost 5'7". She just keeps growing. That's what happens when you feed your kids, y'all. They keep growing and they keep eating. So thanks for rocking with me. Y'all saw the numbers. Yeah, like and subscribe on this one, y'all. And I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Brother Paul, again, thanks for the super chat, bro. I really appreciate it. That's what keeps us running. And trust, all that money is gonna go straight to the cocaine and hookers fund, man. Straight to it. I'm just kidding, bro. It goes right back into the podcast. It goes right back into equipment. About to get a new camera. So thank y'all so much. I gotta go. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. I'm DL Saint. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Peace.
Darn, that's the end.